What is going on, everybody? It is episode 413 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Today's show is just going to be me and Brett, and it's haphazard, it's chaotic. It's going to be a Tish show. It
is. We got a couple of main topics, but a lot of when you're like looking for stuff to talk about, sometimes you have to cobble together multiple stories.
Well, it's more together. So when you don't want to talk about Barbie, you have to ignore that and look at the 10% of coverage everywhere else.
We've got one Barbie update as far as the box office, but a bunch of think pieces about why Barbie is a masterpiece or why Barbie is awful.
Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Maybe. I'm kind of over it. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to have a really fun intro segment with a bunch of stories that have all been crammed together. We're going to do that. We're going to talk about how Matty Healy of the 1975, he's kind of like, he's the guy version of, what's her name that we always talk about?
Maya Angelou?
Yes.
Wait, I was right?
No. Who hosts the podcast? What's her name? There was like, who is
Emily Ratatouille?
The other one.
Julia Fox.
He is the male version of Julia Fox on this podcast. People are like, who the hell is Matty Healy? He is the lead singer of the 1975, and he got an entire festival canceled in Malaysia due to what it boiled down to was a PR stunt to express his solidarity with LGBTQIA plus members of the LGBTQIA plus community that live in Malaysia. And in doing this virtue signal, he got the whole festival canceled. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this article that says that influencers risk being blacklisted by SAG-AFTRA if they dare cross picket lines and refuse to execute some type of weird loyalty oath by talking about their solidarity with the actors union that they may or may not even be a part of. It sounds a little bit fascistic to me, but that could just be me. What do I know? They're the ones who seem to know so much about fascism. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Doja Cat, who is on a race to the bottom of the follower count. She seems to hate her fans so much that she's calling them names, telling them to get a job, and she's lost 185,000 followers in just the last day or so.
What if we tried that method?
We could do that. What would we have to say? We have to be like, we won't watch Triple R. Barbie was the greatest movie ever.
Attack on Titan sucks.
No, you have to say, we'd have to say a bunch of stuff like that, right? Like, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was great. Kathleen Kennedy is my favorite person on the entire planet. And Bob Iger has done nothing wrong. Disney has never hurt a child in their entire life.
Yeah, you just did it.
Yeah,
all
perfect.
of them are going to unsubscribe.
They all unsubscribe right away. All right, so we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. But before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video? If you understand, of course, that what I just said was satire and sarcasm, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel. If you have not done so already, we did just pass 67,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for that. Also, remember that all Super Chats, $20 and over, especially if you want to yell at us for what I just said. All Super Chats, $20 and over. We will read those right then and there, and then we will get right back on the discussion. So if you're ready, Mary, we will get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So first things first, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that The Rock, there's a conspiracy theory going around that The Rock is a closeted fan of Andrew Tate?
You'll never guess the evidence that they have scraped together.
No, it's compelling.
That this is true.
It's compelling. All right, here let's watch this clip that proves that that The Rock is secretly a top G supporter.
Happy Monday to you guys. Let's have a productive work week. And, years ago, I stopped saying I have to go to work. I have to do this. I have to do that.
Love
but especially as it relates to work,
music.
These days I say I get to go to work.
I have to go to work today. Change your language. I get to go to work today. Imagine you had no job. It'd be worse, right? I have to go get the kids. You get to go get the kids because you have these beautiful children who love you. You understand?
Happy.
He's right. What if The Rock
playing
actually
the bottom G soundtrack? I didn't pay attention to anything that was said.
What if he secretly, like, every time The Rock comes into a room, that song actually plays? I like that. Like, what'll happen is the next time he comes back to WWE, he'll have a remix of his theme song. and it'll be that theme in the background.
His shirt also says anti-hero, which is something that a lot of people would call Andrew Tate.
Yes, and that's a Black Adam in Shazam.
And then someone
back.
replied, he's quoted Andrew Tate a few times. I believe deep down they share a lot in common, but one's controlled to a degree and one's not.
Well, like,
but they're both bald and racially ambiguous. So
I don't imagine, like, I imagine that The Rock doesn't have a lot of free time, so he's not just sitting around searching for Andrew Tate clips on the internet. Maybe I'm wrong.
how is The Rock controlled? Is he controlled by...
He's got his own Harvey
CCP
Pasternak or whatever his name was. Well, yeah, because he made that claim like after he made that Grievous era. No, that was John Cena who made the Grievous
Yeah, that was John
era.
Cena. I was thinking that. I got them mixed up. So
he endorsed Joe Biden. People didn't like
The Rock did?
The Rock did, yeah.
I mean,
The Rock endorsed Joe Biden.
that's part and parcel with being a celebrity now.
Well,
so.
a lot of people were upset with that because they liked the fact that The Rock was kind of, he was the last good diplomat to know politics before that. Kind of like he was the guy version of when Taylor Swift finally went in on politics. They're like, no, why did The Rock have to do this? Why did he have to throw his hat in the ring for politics? It's stupid. He doesn't need that. He just needs to, give his stupid song that everybody in the chat liked and I hated.
He's also like, what do we call them? The sexless.
Yes.
Like.
He every time I've seen
bodybuilder.
Every time I've seen him in a movie where he has like a romantic interest, I don't buy it at all. Like he has like a romantic scene with Gal Gadot in Red Notice, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't buy it. Like I don't buy that they like. I bought her and Ryan Reynolds as a couple more than I bought him.
But the phrase that Andrew Tate used in that clip was already something he was taking from some other source. I think it was from a book originally.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But
quote
it's on
before.
tons of motivational quotes pages. Essentially, a lot of Andrew Tate clips are just soundbite versions of what you see on any like mainstream Instagram page for like motivation posts.
And that's the guy's version of the girl of the like when girls post a thing like she was strong. She was like that stuff's maybe the worst. Like I don't
lied.
know.
She believed.
That is I don't know if either like I don't know which one is worse, but they're both bad. Like when the women post like it's always got like a little Buddha at the bottom and it's like a star chart and it's
I think that people have like analyze the differences between motivational posts for women and motivational posts for men, as well as self-help books that are targeted toward women versus men.
Yeah.
And in the books that are made for women, the phrase "you deserve" is like the most common, and then in the male self-help books, it's the "you have to" phrase.
But
that's not unfair or a double standard. It's just what resonates with the audience that the book is made for.
I feel like but I feel like the phrase for men is less damaging than the phrase for like
yes.
I find the phrase for men to be a call to action, and that phrase for women to be an extremely damaging idea that puts it in your head that there's something owed to you.
I mean,
and in the world today, there's nothing really owed to you.
I don't put stock in most secular self-help books anyway. So
she's like, I've got my own self-help book, and it's the Bible. Have you seen the video of the samurai like okay, I wish I could have pulled this. Okay, so there's this video, right? And it's like the church. It's like a samurai priest against Harry Potter, and he's cutting Harry Potter books up with a katana, and then like he goes like the Chamber of Secrets, the Deathly Hallows, and then he goes the Bible, and he goes no, and he cuts the Bible. Like I don't know if he actually cut the Bible in half, but they
then
show
he seppukus.
Yeah, and he basically goes and the whole thing like the room like explodes. It's incredible. But The Rock also, remember, he just became the highest paid single film actor of all time with a $50 million check. I don't even remember the name of the movie, what it was for
That's
either.
A crazy amount to pay anyone, especially after Black Adam.
I know. $50 million up front. He's like, who needs residuals when this check will be bigger than anything that you will ever make in your entire career for most of these actors?
We say that these actors who are on strike, including The Rock, should put their money where their mouth is and actually contribute to the funds for the crew members, and he just donated what?
$1 million.
He donated $1 million.
Well, they say at least $1 million because they say it was a 7-figure donation, but could easily be more than that. So the funny thing about this is I actually kind of have not a problem with what there's a $20 one right there from Tom Bobader.
He said, always rejoice, pray without ceasing. In all things give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you all. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. I guess St. Paul is the top G Dwayne and Tate want to be. That is all.
There you go.
They are kind of seen as like messianic figures.
A little bit. One of the things I have, one of the problems I have with stuff like this is like what they expect of The Rock is, first of all, it's never enough. And it's telling these people how to spend their money. The Rock doesn't owe anyone anything. And I get annoyed because then they're like, when he does something like this, like, look, what he did is a great thing to donate to this cause, which, by the way, I didn't know that Courtney B. Vance was in charge. It's not SAG that he's in charge of. It's a SAG adjacent organization. So it's a foundation that supports people within the because I was like, wasn't Fran Drescher
because SAG won't do that.
Yeah. So it's an emergency fund tied to the union. But, you know, The Rock makes his donation. But here's the thing. You're in an industry where no matter how much you donate, it's never going to be enough. And everyone's going to ask for every other celebrity now.
And there's probably so much red tape involved in actually getting any of that money for the crew members.
They say that here. They basically, he has to give you an example on how to collect. It's like when
Crime Stoppers.
Or COVID, when COVID happened and there was like...
You know, Crime Stoppers doesn't give you any of the money for turning in criminals if you called 911 first.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's just their policy.
They're just like, you have to go and make sure that they're guilty yourself. You're not going to get the help from the cops. There's a $20 one there from Ben Dillon.
He said, you are enough, kings.
No, he said
you are Kenuff.
Yes.
Kings. The merch for You Are Kenuff is now public and available.
Is it?
Mattel is selling merch that says "You Are Kenuff."
See, even in the Barbie movie, patriarchy reasserts itself, and Ken makes the best merch. It's it's the way it is. But yeah, so it kind of reminds me of like the red tape would actually remind me is like when people were trying to idle. I was very lucky. Like I got a job. I worked right before COVID. The place that I worked went out of business, so I was unemployed right before COVID, and then got a job right as it was starting. But a lot of the people that I knew were like trying to get like the unemployment benefits while they were looking for work, and it was just insane red tape because of like the wait line. Like they had to eventually like streamline the process to make it easier because people were having such a hard time getting through and actually filling out the forms.
I don't know. I mean, I personally worked for a call center to assist people
you did
filing for those unemployment funds during the pandemic.
That was a state-run institution though, right?
But yeah, run by New York State, who like contracted a bunch of different companies to do it for them. But it seemed pretty simple to me. I don't know.
In Minnesota, it was just getting through.
I mean, there were a lot of people also fraudulently getting tons of pandemic money.
There was billions of dollars that went.
The companies that got bailouts.
Yep. PPP loans.
Yep.
So I mean, good for The Rock for doing that, but I'll just let you know it's never going to be enough. Oh, the movie's called Red One. That's the name of the movie that's coming out. Also, let's talk about Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
So guys, I'm literally not gonna scroll up and down just in case somebody posted.
We're gonna talk about Florence Pugh's
weird looking titties.
Weird tits.
But that's not really the point of the discussion. My opinion on the shape of her breasts is unimportant.
Florence Pugh Daily reported on this.
Yeah.
Imagine running the account Florence Pugh Updates Daily. You're
Best
insane.
of Pugh.
A censored version of Oppenheimer is being screened in several countries with a CGI black dress covering Florence Pugh.
Mary sent this to me and she goes, "Thank heavens."
Yeah, it's truly a public service
to be doing so.
To be covering up those scenes. It's utterly obscene.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't like it, but like Wesley at least gave a good explanation as to why thematically.
You can come up with a lot of explanations. I just don't think it's necessary.
Also,
the dress is not very realistic looking.
No, it doesn't at all. The sheen, the texture around the chesticles there doesn't really match the lighting in the room. No. But the reason for this also, guys, is the nude scene that she had was being censored in India and the Middle East, who they have rules against doing that in movies. You're not allowed to put that in the theaters. I will say that in the theater that I was in, me and Mary didn't go see this movie at the same time. I was like, if we had, I would have been like secondhand wanting to cover your eyes because I know that you wouldn't have wanted to see it.
I averted my gaze.
You averted your gaze. So like there was definitely people in the theater there. Like luckily it was a Nolan movie, so it was all adults and stuff. Like there was nobody brought kids to this movie. But
their sex scene was titled "A Scathing Attack on Hinduism." The founder of Save Culture, Save India Foundation said, "We don't know the motivation and logic behind this unnecessary scene on the life of a scientist, but this is a direct assault on religious beliefs of a billion tolerant Hindus. Rather, it amounts to waging a war on the Hindu community and almost appears to be part of a larger conspiracy by anti-Hindu forces."
Yeah, dude.
Because of her showing a Sanskrit book, which is apparently a revered scripture of Hinduism.
Yes, I can't pronounce that word. Bhagavad Gita.
I guess that's it.
Seems
if there are any
logical.
Hindus in chat, let us know.
But I mean, it's the whole point is that script what he reads is that famous quote, which is like it's literally what everyone knows him for is that quote.
Yeah.
So I didn't really take it as an attack. I mean, but I guess
if it's based on a true story, I doubt that actually happened.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with something that's, quote, based on a true story.
It happened. We swear. It was real.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened. Also, people are asking for a Jean Tatlock movie now, to which I say nay. No.
Yeah.
You don't get a Titlock movie. No Titlock movie.
Her character was not supposed to be likable.
No.
And if you did find her character likable, it's probably because you're
a bad person.
Similar to her. But Florence Pugh has been all about freeing the nipple for a long time now. Back in July last year, she appeared on a red carpet with a sheer gown that showed everything. And she posted on Instagram after getting some pushback for freeing the nip. She said, "What's been interesting to watch and witness is just how easy it is for men to totally destroy a woman's body publicly, proudly for everyone to see. You even do it with your job titles and work emails in your bio. It isn't the first time and certainly won't be the last time a woman will hear what's wrong with her body by a crowd of strangers. What's worrying is just how vulgar some of you men can be." Look, it's vulgar to show your body to the public in that way. Yeah. You started with a vulgar display and you got a vulgar response. I don't know what you expected. And also, if you write an entire essay about just how comfortable you are with your body and showing it off, you're probably pretty insecure.
Because an actually secure person wouldn't feel the need
like if you didn't
self-soothe and write the article as a. If
you didn't want to be objectified, if you didn't want to be sexualized or criticized on how your body looks, you didn't like. That's kind of a hidden advantage of not showing people your tits all the time, is that you don't get criticized on how your tits look. You know, like she started with the vulgar display and is now acting shocked that she got a vulgar response from a bunch of men on the internet. I don't feel bad for you.
You know what the funny thing is? The article that she wrote, you know what it actually is? It's the single person equivalent of the couple that you know is extremely unhappy that posts lots of photos together about how much they love each other because they hate each other deep down.
It's really pathetic. She also continued, "I'm happy with all of the quote-unquote flaws that I couldn't bear to look at when I was 14. So many of you wanted to aggressively let me know how disappointed you were by my, quote, tiny tits, or how I should be embarrassed by being so flat-chested."
She's not flat-chested.
Well, she's not, but, I mean, they're not big. Yeah. "I've lived in my body for a long time. I'm fully aware of my breast size, and I'm not scared of it. What's more concerning is why are you so scared of breasts?" Like, no one is scared of your tits. They're just commenting on them because you publicly displayed them.
You're scared of them the same way you're scared of a strong, independent woman that doesn't need no man.
Yeah. You know. It's the same thing as, like, Keke Palmer and the whole discourse around that and her baby daddy not wanting her to be, you know, displaying her body and cozying up to Usher in public. It's not because anyone is intimidated by you that you're getting criticized.
Yeah.
It's because you were vulgar.
And part of it is like, it feels like in a culture now where we celebrities are smart. Look, they understand that the backlash means clicks, that the backlash means higher social profile. So there's a lot of, it's like
She
when all
was
of
featured
these,
in an article. It's like 12 celebrities who are fighting for women's rights.
Yep.
Like you're fighting for women's rights by getting naked.
apparently.
It takes so little to get praised these days in the media.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, the idea of modesty is laughed at as naive and stupid, as if like nudity is and that's coming from somebody I'm not offended by it when it's in the media, but I do think it's silly to elevate it to some level of importance in the culture. If you're changing the world by being naked, you're not.
The point of modesty isn't that we think that there's something inherently shameful about the human body. It's that there's something inherently valuable about the human body, specifically women's bodies, that doesn't deserve to be paraded around and shown to the world. Something that's available to everyone is valuable to no one.
Andrina in the chat says, Ben Shapiro calls it face tattoo syndrome. Why do you care about this massive, obvious tattoo on my face? Yeah.
It's like she's shoving her tits in your face and asking, why are you so scared of my tits?
Yeah. Because.
Why are you hitting yourself?
My brother actually did that to me. And I was like, quit hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself. Look, I just.
This essay just gets worse and worse. I'm very grateful I grew up in a household with very strong, powerful, curvy women.
Whatever. Do your thing, queen. Just don't complain to me when
we were raised
people push
to
back on
find
you.
power in the creases of our body, to be loud about being comfortable. If you're comfortable with your body, you don't need to project that to the world.
Yeah. It just sounds like something written by a PR person who took a public speaking course in college.
I'm sure Florence Pugh is annoying enough that she penned that essay all on her own.
She's a little bit look, I was like when we were watching the movie, I was trying to figure out where my annoyance for her as an actress ends and my annoyance for the character begins, because the character is also annoying. It's written annoying. The part about throwing the flowers away was annoying. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was clever or interesting. It was probably the weakest part of the movie for me. But I'm, for the most part, pretty good at separating art from artist. You know, I watch a lot of movies with a lot of actors who say a lot of stupid things on Twitter. That stuff doesn't normally bother me, but there's just something about when she's doing the nude scene and you can just tell she's like getting ready. She's like, I'm so excited to push back on everyone who doesn't 110% accept this as perfect, exactly the way it is. You don't get to be a public person. I was watching a video where Brett Cooper was reacting to this lady who explains why it's okay to criticize Dylan Mulvaney, talking about like, you don't get to be a public figure, become a spokesperson for a company, do all these things in the public eye and expect to get no pushback whatsoever. You don't get to make millions of dollars doing scenes in the nude without expecting at least a little bit of pushback. I don't have a problem with what you did, but I'm also a realist and understand that there are going to be people that see the world differently who are going to feel inclined to tell you so. They're not wrong for having that opinion. It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, what is annoying to me about this scene? Is it her annoyingness or Jean Tatlock's annoyingness that's making me annoyed right now?
She wasn't acting. That's why they chose her for the role.
Exactly. She's perfect for that. All right, guys. Tell us about Madison Beer. She was pushing back.
Speaking of body shaming, Madison Beer recently clapped back at someone who was body shaming her in her Instagram comments. And to be fair, I mean, this guy does look like an ogre, so maybe he shouldn't be talking about looks. Here's his comment.
Especially
he said,
not someone as good looking as she is.
Oh, of course. She's like literally Helen of Troy. His comment said, "Hey, Madison, I've noticed that your legs and arms are getting fatter. Please do some cardio because we men only like skinny girls. Your face is already perfect, but please, we love a thin-waisted girl."
I'm almost thinking it's a troll. Like a very cleverly done troll.
She responded to his comment and said, "I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole if you paid me $1 million. I mean, fair. But also, you're drawing more attention to the hate by responding to it.
Yeah, I have the same reaction to I was explaining to you earlier, like I have the same reaction to any time one of these things happens where a celebrity claps back at haters. First of all, I think like you're the you're the celebrity, have some decorum. You're going to get people that dislike you, just ignore it. But then, and when you do clap back, then you encourage all of your gazillions of followers to then go dunk on this person. But then alternatively, I'm like, look, you decided to embrace the id and make your every thought known to this celebrity in a desperate bid to get their attention. You got it. Do I really care if a bunch of people dogpile on you after the fact? You deserve each other. Go deserve each other together, especially since you're, like, it would be like me dogpiling on her, or even me dogpiling on Florence Pugh. It's not like I have a chance with Florence Pugh, right? That's, granted, I think I was a little bit more measured than this guy here, right? But it's not like he has a chance with her, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a right to criticize her. It's just a really lame comment that he made.
Yeah.
A very, very lame comment that was a little bit more embarrassing, right? But it's like, if you're somebody in her position, you have to learn to just accept that people are going to say negative things about you. People say negative things about us all the time.
Most of the negative things that people say about Madison Beer are about her personality. So it's easier to respond to someone that's criticizing you for your looks when you know you look perfect.
Yeah. And it's like, I kind of point out is like when people criticize the show, or like stuff I say in the show, that bothers me a little bit more than if people insult skating that I do, because I've been doing that for so long. I'm very confident in my abilities when I do that, so it doesn't really bother me. But it's like when you're doing something that you're maybe not as secure in, you might have a little bit harder time with that. I don't know how she could have any less security with her looks, but I guess like even the most beautiful person can find flaws.
She's gotten
in
work
how they
done,
look.
so she obviously thought there were flaws in her that needed to be fixed.
Yeah.
Still denies that she ever got like lip fillers, which is ridiculous.
Who is it that, which Kardashian was it that said recently she'd never have?
Kylie Jenner claims she's never gone under the knife.
And somebody like, I don't remember who said it on Twitter, like, says the woman whose boobs have gotten bigger every year for the last...
I don't even want to justify that with a response.
Like, is the guy saying, okay, let's break it down here. Is he saying that this isn't good? That this isn't good? She needs to lose weight here?
Yeah, well, the picture she posted is below where she's in the white dress.
Just, there's nothing wrong there.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong there.
Obviously. But it would be harder for her to respond to criticisms about her personality and her work.
Yeah.
Than someone criticizing her looks, which are obviously
What does she do
perfect.
for work?
She's a singer.
Is that what she does? I mean, I literally only know her as an influencer.
She is a good singer. Yeah. It's just, I feel like her career is not going to, like, her career with music is just kind of reached a ceiling because she's too perfect.
How so?
I don't know. I feel like she's, like, there are obviously a lot of singers who are extremely attractive. Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, and Dua Lipa was a model.
And look at that, they're all literal terrorists. They're male terrorists.
I don't know. I feel like Madison Beer's music career is not going to ever take off.
In the same way?
In the same way. Maybe it's because of her looks.
I guess. I didn't know it was possible to be too good looking in this. Like, singing is one of the, like, outside of the Lizzos and a couple of others, like, singing is one of those ones where they still do like pretty girls.
Yes. But maybe there's a limit. You know,
I guess,
where you still have to be attainable. That's what they said about Taylor Swift.
That she's
they
like
said
the
Taylor
perfect
Swift
level
has
of
a lot of
attainable.
female fans because she's not very attractive, and it makes them feel more secure about themselves. Which
that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous because, I mean, obviously Taylor Swift is gorgeous.
Yes, that's ridiculous. Like and definitely no guy is like looking at Taylor Swift and like, yeah, she's a hard 6 or 7. No, not actually. There probably are people.
Well, if Margot Robbie is mid, who knows? Maybe Taylor Swift is.
People
also
are
mid.
still saying that. They're still saying that Margot Robbie is mid, and that's crazy to me.
I think that conversation was mostly because beauty standards have changed in the U.S. To no longer favor the bombshell blonde, and it's more about like people like Madison Beer who have like a tan and they're brunette and they have the fox eyes. They're more racially ambiguous.
Kim Kardashians,
big lips, huge proportions, stuff like that. So Margot Robbie doesn't fit that stereotype.
Chris Welch says T Swift is mid now too. What's happening?
And
I'm
Taylor
with you,
Swift
brother.
too. Taylor Swift is also like the blonde-haired, blue-eyed chick that would probably be considered a 10 in like, I don't know, the 90s.
Yeah, or I mean, and earlier.
Or earlier.
Really, like
yeah.
when you think about it.
But as the country becomes more diverse and inclusive, our standards are also becoming more inclusive.
It does feel like a lot of it is like we've homogenized so heavily that everyone kind of has to look the same now.
Ice Spice literally looks like what National Geographic said that the human race would look like in 2050.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but that's amazing.
Like the freckled, light-skinned, interracial look with like curly hair.
Okay.
Know?
All right. She's
it's like a new race.
she's created an entirely new race. That's crazy. Yeah, like it's hard to, like, that's just crazy to me that they think it's possible to be too good looking, but I don't buy that. But maybe you're right. Oh, also, I want to show people this video. I meant to show this after the Florence Pugh thing. Guys, this is what we need more of. Imagine you had a Marvel style reaction to Albert Einstein appearing on camera. What I want now is like an Oppenheimer Avengers film where like Oppenheimer gets together with, I guess, Heisenberg, even though that's, you don't want to,
It was a little bit Marvelified when they mentioned John F. Kennedy.
Yes.
Toward the end there. It was like, oh, what the sequel? The sequel is going to have John F. Kennedy in it.
Here it is.
How about because this is the most important thing that ever happened in the history of the world?
I don't know if that's real, but it's amazing.
When Einstein
if it is.
showed up on camera, you kind of want to be like, oh!
I did. I was like, there he is. Like, he's essentially, it's like Tony Stark showing up, and you're like, here he is. He's going to save the day. Einstein's going to save the day. It's the power of movies. All right, guys, we got a couple of more unhappy announcements here. So Tori Kelly, who is a Grammy Award-winning singer, was rushed to the hospital after collapsing. Doctors have found blood clots. It's worth mentioning because there's multiple stories that seem to be coming out about this now, because LeBron James' son suffered cardiac arrest during a workout before a game. And
he's only 19
he's
years old.
19 years old, dude. That's terrifying. It says a family spokesperson said yesterday while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff were able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He is now in stable condition and no longer in the ICU. Like, if I was LeBron James, I would send that kid. I mean, he's got the money. Have a surgeon on call at all times just to be safe.
Yeah.
Like,
very suspicious.
It is. And here it says Tori Kelly is currently hospitalized and getting treatment for blood clots around her vital organs. One source telling us the situation is really serious. Look, we just had Jamie Foxx get out of the hospital and appear back in the public eye again.
Did he ever say what happened?
No, we don't know what it is. I
mean,
did see an article.
It's his right to keep that information to himself. But
I did see an article recently that said the uptick in heart disease could be from climate change. So it's the Atlantic. It's completely plausible.
Well, also, it's because the lockdown caused us so much emotional distress that our anxiety levels are getting higher, and that can cause heart problems.
I've heard that. I don't know. Look, it's not our place to speculate on what it could be causing all these things. It's just a lot of young athletes. It seems like athletes in particular these days are collapsing in higher numbers.
This was specifically affecting young male athletes more than everyone else.
Damar Hamlin collapses on the field, and all that happens. He's back on the field now. A lot of people with the conspiracy theory that he's not even a real person anymore.
Replaced by a clone.
That he was replaced by a clone.
His tattoos are in different places.
But yeah, like between that, Jamie Foxx had what? It was like a stroke, right? He had.
Is that what he said it was?
They said it was a stroke, but it was like he had like a massive stroke. There's just a lot of stuff happening, and it's crazy. So I was just shocked because 19 is just unbelievably young for an athlete to fall ill. So. All right. Oh, also, if you're anywhere around the White House, look out for the white powder and look out for Biden's dog. Because
I think his dog got into the white powder.
Cujo.
Started acting up.
Yeah. Accused of biting 7 people, including 2 Secret Service
cocaine
agents.
German Shepherd now.
Cocaine Commander. Cocaine Commander, starring Joe Biden, his dog Commander, and Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's like, where did my powder go?
4-month rampage, biting 7 people, including at least 2 Secret Service agents. Wow. And if he What if he bit Biden?
He did, right? Early, I think like he bit Biden.
If he attacks Biden, does the Secret Service have to put down the dog?
I think so. Probably. I have no idea.
Threat to national security at this point.
This dog could be a Russian asset for all we know. I mean, it could be a German asset given it's a German Shepherd, right? Maybe it's German by way of Russia.
Did Trump ever have a White House pet?
They had a dog, right?
Dog?
Chat. Did Trump have? Trump had a dog.
Is that just a thing that you have to do
Yes.
as the president? You just have to have a pet to humanize yourself.
Makes you likable, right?
I guess.
Like-
I don't remember Trump having a White House pet.
Chat. Let me know. Did Trump have a
Melania
pet?
wouldn't take kindly to that. She doesn't seem like she would let the dog sit on the couch.
She's like, no, not on my watch. Also, wait, I thought it was like I could have swore there was a story where like the dog bit him while he was in the shower or something. Bit Biden while he was in the shower.
The shower door was open.
Yeah, like I'm not kidding
Did
you.
she
Like
shower with his dog? There's
saying-
a lot of weird showering with family members that goes on in the Biden
they're saying Trump had no pets,
family.
so he didn't have it. No dogs, no cats, no nothing.
See, that's okay. If Trump didn't have a pet, which I kind of knew that, I appreciate that because he didn't need to stoop to that level to like humanize himself to the public.
Yeah,
He's just already
he eats his steak with ketchup.
he's already a populist. He doesn't need to do that.
Exactly. They say no. He fell while trying to grab his dog's tail. That is
What?
just Biden. That is just rough. man.
3-year-olds tug on dogs' tails.
He thought it was a kid, and he tried to sniff the dog, and it didn't work. That would be my guess. All right, guys. So I'm just saying, if you're out in the Washington area, watch out for the cocaine and watch out for the dogs. That anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Barbie sets a record for Monday openings for Warner Brothers. $26.1 million. This movie isn't going to have the steep drop off that they were predicting it was going to have. The biggest Monday ever for a female director of any studio. And it's ahead of now The Dark Knight, which had a Monday opening of just under this.
Okay.
$26.1 million on Monday. I think this movie could make, I don't know if it'll make $1 billion, but it's going to get close. It'll depend on where it goes week to week. But if it doesn't have a steep drop off this week, then, this movie's going to inch toward $1 billion very, very quickly. It says the movie's domestic total through Monday is already $188.1 million, and it's sure to clear $200 million by sometime on Tuesday.
I got my nails done pink to just honor the vibes.
It works. It works completely. For me, this is, what it is? I think Ben Shapiro, Barbra Streisand this. I think he made his angry video. Ben Shapiro's got a huge platform, and a bunch of people were like, no,
Someone tweeted at him saying men used to go to war. Now they make 43-minute long Barbie reviews for a movie about dolls.
To be fair, we did a 26-minute review for Barbie, so
podcasters used to go to war.
We're no better here. we're no better here. Okay. High Voltage 75 says $1 billion. Will it get that much international help? Well, yeah. I mean, Barbie made almost as much. It made a little bit more internationally than it did domestically. So I don't know if it's going to get there, but it's very, very possible. And not everything makes $1 billion this year. Whatever says yawn, everything hurts $1 billion nowadays. Makes $1 billion. I don't know if it'll make $1 billion, but it could get very, very close. It depends, I guess, on what the drop off is internationally here. But it's developed. There's a cult of personality around this movie. Now, you said like what your hair?
Yeah, I asked my hairdresser this morning if she was going to see Barbie, I asked her, have you seen the Barbie movie yet? Because the assumption is that you're going to if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
And she said she was thinking about going with her 8-year-old daughter, and I was like, oh, maybe that's not the best idea. They make sexual innuendo jokes and talk about genitalia a little bit too much for that audience.
Introverted Banshee brings up a good point that we talked about yesterday. He says, but how much was their marketing? The marketing budget on this movie was $150 million, which is actually more than the entirety of the budget for the film itself. So it's fast approaching. I mean, I'd have to do the math on the break-even point for that, but I guess if it's what is that, $250 million for the movie, and the movie made $188 million domestically. It made $337 million to get, cumulatively. So you cut that in half. So a little over $150 million. It's well on its way to profitability very, very soon here. But it's going to make a lot of money.
Without any promotion after the release.
Do you think people just ignore the parental, like the rating system now? I was reading an article earlier because I had always heard that it was Indiana Jones was the reason why the PG-13 rating was created. But it's like because we needed something to bridge between PG and R-rated movies. And Barbie was definitely a PG-13 movie. You shouldn't be bringing anyone younger than that to the film. But, I saw parents with kids that were definitely younger than 13 at the theater.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I think it's just because parents aren't really doing their research on what they let their kids watch now, whether it's in theaters or whether they're just, plopping them down with an iPad.
Yeah.
They just don't care what their kids are getting exposed to.
What do you think about the pushback now with people saying that this is actually like a brilliant movie and people are just misunderstanding it?
There are a lot of right-wing commentators who are taking the contrarian position, saying that this is actually a genius satire
Sargon
of
had
feminism.
something. Sargon said it's accidentally based.
The point is that if it is based, it would be accidentally so. I mean, we know that the filmmaker is an earnest feminist, and they called this a certifiably feminist movie. The only point to be made here is that, when you imbue a story with feminist or radical political messaging in that direction, then it's going to undermine itself just because those themes don't resonate with people.
Yeah.
And the ending was confusing for that very reason.
It's why I don't buy that there was a deeper meaning to it, because when Greta Gerwig was trying to explain this movie to an interviewer, she couldn't explain the message behind it. So am I supposed to buy that there's a brilliant message behind somebody who can't even give you the 30-second elevator pitch canned answer as to why it's a brilliant film? I don't know if I buy that, but I could be wrong. Well, but here's the thing. It doesn't mean you police people for liking it. People are allowed to like whatever the hell they want to like. I actually like that there's people who are out there that are giving their own well thought out arguments to the contrary. I'm constantly put in that position where people are saying, why did you like this movie, Brett? Why did you like this movie, Brett? This movie was awful, Brett. And I'm like, look, I liked it. You don't owe anyone an explanation. I guess if you do it for a living, you do, but you're allowed to like whatever you want to like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. If there was any brilliant message behind Barbie, then it definitely wasn't one that they intended for it to have.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. All right. So we'll see what it does. I also look, the marketing could have been more than that. The marketing budget felt bigger than that to me. But
I saw that they had a 3D billboard for it that had the 2001 A Space Odyssey Barbie walk out into the city skyline, sort of like that Lana Del Rey music video.
Yeah. Yep.
But it shows that they don't need the actors to do the promotion for them.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what we're
SAG
slowly.
Strike be damned. They're gonna be just fine.
This is what we're going to keep pushing towards, right? How can they market these movies without the actors? Because what happens if an actor gets involved in a scandal? Not even just a strike, but what happens if it becomes something like Jonathan Majors, who ends up in court over claims that can't be proven?
Sometimes the actors are a liability anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So you never know. Who's not a liability? A pink TARDIS in the middle of London, or a giant 3D billboard display in the middle of Times Square.
Or a pink burger.
Ugh, gross. All right, tell us about Megan Fox.
Looks like Megan Fox is getting called out after she asked her fans to donate to her friend's medical bill fund, despite seemingly not donating anything to it from her own bank account.
First of all, you can donate to GoFundMe's with anonymously.
But it looked like there wasn't any donations. She posted it.
Well, maybe she posted it first and then donated.
The fundraiser's goal was $30,000, The same amount that Megan Fox's fiance MGK spent on her diamond-encrusted manicure.
That was the goal they were trying to reach, was $30,000.
Yeah.
Look,
it's sort of like when Selena Gomez got the kidney donation from her friend.
Yeah.
And then stopped being friends with her afterwards and acted like she didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, money is nothing to these people.
No. And it's one of these things where it's like, you should always, like, if you can't afford to donate to something, it is always a good thing to still post about it. That way you get the word out there to people. Like, I donate to a lot of GoFundMes, like, for people. And like, there was one recently, there was a kid that skates in Iran that literally it's like very hard to get skates out there. Mm-hmm. Like, and like had a GoFundMe, and people were posting it up, and it's like, yeah, I can do that. But it's like, for somebody who doesn't have a couple of extra dollars to donate to something like that, it is still a good thing to at least post about it so that other people can get the word out. But if you're going to be held to a different standard, if you're a celebrity, people are going to expect you to also donate to it.
I guess it's like wrong in one sense to expect. And
you should never expect. I don't
it's
think
like how people try to police Mr. Beast's philanthropy content.
Spend your money
like,
this way.
You should be funding bottom surgery for 5-year-old children instead of, curing blindness. Everyone has their ideas for how rich people ought to spend their money, but at the end of the day,
none of their business.
It's not your money to decide. But still, it is weird to post it and not contribute.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you should have done
when
the
you're
donation
at that level of wealth.
Well, or maybe it's because she's like, no matter how much I donate, unless I do the whole thing, they're going to judge how much I donate. Right?
I mean, I guess I would be personally offended if I were her friend and she didn't donate to it at all.
Yeah.
She's expecting her fans to do it for her.
But also, like, for something like that, it's like, if you give the money maybe she should have like donated after the fact or given the money first. But I don't know.
Whatever.
And then did you see the thing where like her like Machine Gun Kelly got in a fight with somebody who tried to touch her or something at like a fair? Yeah,
they were like at a county fair or something. And no one even tried to touch Megan Fox. I think it was someone who complimented her. Yeah. And he got into a fist fight with him. He's just off the rails, crazy.
It's Machine Gun Kelly. He's
and this is after he cheated on her.
That dude, man. That's one of those things. Like, whenever you see the memes, like posting about like how like hot girls get cheated on, I always feel like it's feminist propaganda.
But
and then I see stuff
true.
like this, and I'm like, it's a little bit different for them because they're both famous. Famous.
It probably inflated his ego, right? Once you're dating Megan Fox, it's like the world is your oyster. It will like inflate your ego and make you think you deserve anything. Yeah. So there is something to that.
But I see a lot of very snarky things that women post where it's like, when you give the ugly guy a chance and he cheated on you, which is extremely narcissistic and shows that it was a power move to begin with. Yeah. That you did it because you think he's ugly. But
sometimes, like, when a woman falls in love, her brain will make her attracted to the guy, even if he's not objectively attractive. That's why you see a lot of couples where like the guy is clearly dating someone outside of his league, or maybe the other way around too.
I still believe that I see it the other way around.
Love goggles.
More. Yeah, it's is that what they call it? It's like drunk goggles, but less fun.
Yeah,
less fun. All right. Also, hold up, Elon. You don't get to change your logo quite yet. Police have reportedly shut down Twitter's attempt to change the name on the headquarters after lacking a permit. Is this in San Francisco? Is this in San Francisco? That's why, because they're in shitty San Francisco, where you're not going to be allowed to do anything without 9 permits and an appeal to power and authority with whoever the hell's in charge over there. All the micro-dosing Silicon Valley tech gods.
It looks like they got pretty far, though. They took off the name.
They're like, they're not getting rid of the bird.
Yeah, they couldn't get rid of the bird on top of the sign.
He should leave the bird.
This is still like the logo that they came up with is so ugly. Yeah. The X logo and the Twitter branding was just perfect the way it was. I mean, it's like something that's inoffensive to anyone.
There's a $20 one there from Corey Anderson.
He said, the adage goes, show me the hottest woman in the world and I will show you the man tired of dealing with her crap. That is why hot chicks get cheated on.
It's because they feel that their hotness entitles them to be able to act out and act a fool in that relationship. Therefore, the man's like, not on my watch.
What entitled MGK to act a fool in their relationship?
I mean, I imagine for a second that she's probably annoying to deal with.
They're probably both terrible people who deserve each other.
Yeah.
But I saw Sargon post a very long-winded essay about the changing of the Twitter logo. And he said that the X minimalist logo they came up with and this branding Elon seems to like perfectly appeals to Elon and people like Elon, like Gen X guys with geeky interests and futuristic aesthetics that appeal to them. But he doesn't seem to quite understand what brought people to the platform in the first place. And it might alienate the audience on Twitter. That is the reason we're there. We're there to disagree with each other.
Yeah.
You're on Twitter instead of Truth Social or Threads because your ideological opponents are on Twitter.
Yeah.
And if you alienate those people, then it's going to be a boring platform.
Yeah, and the funny, somebody says in the chat, they said this was I just saw something here.
Not everyone wants to drive the Cybertruck, but you created it for this niche audience that does want that aesthetic.
Also, remember, you can in fact shoot heroin and crap in the street in San Francisco, but you can't change a logo without 9 permits.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's very.
But maybe
annoying.
he should just take the headquarters to some
Texas.
other city.
To Texas.
Probably Austin.
Wait, no, wasn't he moving Tesla back to California? I think I read somewhere that he was moving Tesla back to California.
I don't know.
So he's like, which seems horrible,
I guess
given
he
the
likes
taxes
it
and
where he is.
I could be wrong about that. I feel like I read that a while back, but he should leave them in different states. He can get around. He's got a private jet. And now I just imagine like you have to go like I saw this video on X, and no one's gonna believe that it's not.
I'm never going to call it X. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people are. Like it's like I said, I understand that Facebook and Meta are not like nobody calls Meta nobody uses the term Meta ever other than Metaverse. And even then, it just feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
describing a future that doesn't exist yet, which is why it doesn't make sense to the mainstream audience.
Dustin in the Wind says, no, he has Tesla plants everywhere. But I thought they said that they were moving the headquarters of Tesla because they moved it to Texas. And then I heard they were moving it back to California, but I could be wrong about that. Texlas, they say.
Okay.
Get it? All right. What would you like to see first? What would you like to see? Cute or cringe of the day?
Let's look at cute first.
Cute? All right, guys. We got a couple here first. So first things first, from Kana on Twitter. Hold on, let me put it there. This is Darwin. He was a good boy. He would always eat at his table. He is now enjoying the giant papaya in the sky.
Aw.
That is
R.I.P. Darwin.
He's very cute. Very cute.
Yeah.
It's a very finely crafted table there that he's
Is this a
eating on.
hamster or a mouse?
It's looks like a hamster to me. I don't know. But it's very, very adorable. And
Everyone I know who's had a hamster has some horror story
Like
or like
what?
traumatic experience of like they get pregnant, then they eat their own babies, or like they die in some horrible way. I had hamsters myself, and this seems to be a universal.
So they're saying it's a rat.
experience.
I literally don't know. I guess if it's a rat, there you go, rat. All right, we got a couple more there. The thing is adorable though. Sad to see it pass. This is Patton, our mini donkey, playing with his new ball. Cute of the day from Mega Max.
Who has a pet donkey?
It's amazing.
That's kind of cool.
That's very, very cute.
I love mini horses. What are they called? Are they just mini horses?
I'm sure it has a name that I don't know. But it's very, very cute.
Kind of looks like that.
All right. Cringe of the day. We've got a couple here. First things first. Let's look at this video. So, if you had bad feelings about the Barbie movie, imagine you were these ladies. It says, went to see the Barbie movie and this happened. Here we go,
I love
guys.
female solidarity in action.
Well, remember, guys, if women were in charge, there would be no wars because women don't believe in violence as a way of solving problems. I've heard that.
I just love this with the Billie Eilish song in the background.
Why is the guy wearing a crop top hoodie?
He's at the Barbie movie. What do you expect?
Well, I mean, there you go. No women would ever start a war. That's further proof.
Yeah.
Proven.
Yeah, there was this lady on Piers Morgan while they were debating about the Barbie movie who said that women just have more mature ways of resolving conflicts, and if women were in charge of the world, then maybe there wouldn't be any wars.
Wouldn't that be nice? Robert Downey Jr. said that. He said making Oppenheimer made him believe that women should be in charge.
There definitely wouldn't be industrial level wars like that of the last century because we wouldn't be capable of making that type of technology.
There's a $20 super chat there from Daniel J. Corsica.
He said, "Happy Tuesday, crisis actors. I tried to sell my 93 Integra this weekend and in the process talked myself into keeping her. #Deny Mafia. Electric cars suck."
Keep it, man. Don't sell it if you don't want to. No need to. Yeah, like, look, I don't know if I buy that. And happy Tuesday, my friend. Happy Tuesday. We need to get through the work week. Like, I don't buy that there wouldn't be wars. Like, it's going to happen either way.
The problem is when you let men create the technology, like when you let an Oppenheimer make the atomic bomb and then you put women in charge, you don't want them to have that red button. But if women were in charge the entire time, we would still be living in mud huts.
You know what it would be? It'd be like, kind of like, remember, who was the celebrity that like tried to post a black square in solidarity and then posted 3 because it messed up the aesthetic of her timeline on Instagram and then got in trouble for it? It's like, we get a woman in charge and she nukes one place and she's like, it looks so unsightly, and she drops 2 more nukes just, for a little bit of even distribution. She's like, it's like, we can't just have a destroyed Asia. We need no Asia at all. Yeah.
You just end up nuking the entire planet to make sure that the feed stays aesthetically pleasing.
That's exactly what would happen. That's exactly what that or nothing would ever get done because she'd be too busy making sure that
I mean, there are a lot of tweets from self-proclaimed feminists saying, if war breaks out, my feminism is out the window.
Yeah.
I'm going to be cooking and cleaning. Sorry, feminism. C'est la vie.
Exactly. All right, we got one more cringe here. Mary sent me this one. I think I'm gonna disagree. I don't think this is what he was trying to do. I think it was more nefarious than that.
He was trying to sniff Kim Kardashian's butt.
Muting that because it'll probably get copyrighted.
It's so weird. Her Secret Service jumps in.
I like that she has her own Secret Service. You got it.
What do you think he was trying to do?
I think he was trying to literally get his nose up in there and touch it. I don't think he was trying to sniff anything.
John Stewart super chatted, as your sister channel points out, most of the military industrial complex in the U.S. has female CEOs and they still make weapons.
Yeah, at one point I heard that all the weapons manufacturers in America had female CEOs. Also,
well, the CEOs aren't the ones doing the math.
Also, we also know that like if a woman was the first person to drop a nuke, the Atlantic would write an article about female empowerment that would be just unbelievable. It would be like why Hillary Clinton was the first female to drop a nuke and why it's a good thing.
Here's why it's a good thing that Kim Jong-un was succeeded by his daughter instead of his son in North Korea.
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Ice cream, so good.
Well, no,
gang,
it's
gang.
actually, weren't people thirsting after Kim Jong-un's sister online?
I have no idea.
And saying they want her to become the dictator?
Well, see, like women. Oh, I'm not going to generalize here, but it's like that's the inability to take things seriously. Where it's like you don't realize how far things have fallen when you're like, why a female dictatorship in North Korea is better than a male dictatorship in North Korea, when the correct answer is no dictatorship would be the right answer for North Korea. But it did give us Yeonmi Park, so we're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
I want to ask Yeonmi Park, how do you stay so skinny? Would that be offensive?
I don't know if that would be offensive. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to get started here. So, Matty Healy of the 1975, remember, if you don't know who Matty Healy is, he's a singer. A lot of people don't know that. He started a row in which he got an entire festival canceled in Malaysia because he found out after the fact that they have very strict, I guess they would be decency laws. Is that what it would be? Would be their own decency laws? And his pushback to that was to then choose to make out with his bandmate, with his bassist, and that caused them to bring the festival to an abrupt halt, and then other musicians didn't get a chance to perform.
Yes. So this was at the Good Vibes Festival in Malaysia.
Bad vibes, apparently.
And he said that, this was booked on our tour. We didn't look into it. And he claims, if he had done his research, then they wouldn't have gone to this country in the first place because of their anti-gay laws. Yeah. I don't know what they are. But apparently they have obscenity laws or laws against homosexuality there. I mean, if they're allowing the 1975 to play there, it can't be that bad, right?
Well, globalists are going to globalist. In this case, it's like, look, we'll let you perform here, but we just won't let you do certain things.
So they posted this announcement. The 1975 regret to announce that their forthcoming shows in Jakarta and Taipei will no longer be going ahead as planned. The band never take the decision to cancel a show lightly and had been eagerly looking forward to playing for fans. But unfortunately, due to current circumstances, it's impossible to proceed with the scheduled shows. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. They kind of screwed over all the other acts that were going to be on this festival. And I found out that one of them posted on TikTok about this and called him out for doing so. She said, at the 1975, because of your reckless ignorance, selfishness, and inability to adjust or respect different cultures, parentheses, white savior complex, the first performance after my mother's death for me to be able to dedicate a set to her is now canceled. Mom, I am so sorry. And now you can go back to your country thinking you did an amazing thing for Malaysia's young people. Malaysia's not perfect, but I'm shattered. I feel sorry for the Good Vibe Festival team. I feel sorry for all the performers who have worked so hard on showcasing their music. So yeah, at Matty Healy, I am furious at you and your white privilege. Thanks for nothing.
I love how they made it about race. Look, the funny thing is here, there's a funny discussion to be had about like the relativists versus the absolutists, right? So like the relativists are going to be like, look, their culture, their laws, that's their own. I mean, it's our job to respect their culture and their laws.
What if this country weren't Malaysia? What if it were some country that's majority white?
And this is a majority the country.
I mean, there's no majority white country. There's no Western country that has legislation like this. But hypothetically, if they did, and he made the same public virtue signaling stunt, you wouldn't be able to call him out for using his white privilege like this. It's kind of ridiculous. And you can call him out for his hubris and for screwing over these other artists, but it has nothing to do with his race. She also DM'd him on Instagram and said, I lost my mother to an accident, a freak accident, and this was my coming back performance to dedicate a set to her, and you effed it up because you decided to throw an effing tantrum on stage in Malaysia just because of your effing white privilege ass. Do you know the people here now suffer the consequences and you get to go home thinking you're a hero? How could you be so ignorant? I was a fan. I'm so broken. You could not have broken me further. F you, Maddie. F you. I really hope you learn the amount of lives you have ruined. That's a little dramatic. I hope one day you wake up and feel the pain you have caused.
Okay, that's a little bit
I don't think he ruined any lives, but he did ruin a special experience for a lot of fans and artists.
It's Western privilege.
In the name of virtue signaling to a Western audience, which was not in attendance there.
It's Western if it's privilege, it's Western privilege. It has nothing to do with him being white. It would be like if what's her name? The Rina Sawayama did the same thing there. I'm saying if she did the same thing there, that wouldn't be white privilege. That would just be like, look, you're somebody who's promoting to a Western audience. You're somebody who performs in Western countries that have different values than that of those who live in Malaysia or that of the government in Malaysia. And you don't really get to choose, right? The absolutists will tell you that, look, our culture is superior, but they don't do that all the time. They only do that once in a while. Other times they say, look, not our business, right? Like their country, their rules.
Like this video that went viral of a Muslim student at his graduation ceremony in which he refused to shake the hand of a female administrator on stage because apparently in his sect of Islam, all touching between the opposite sexes is forbidden. But you're in the West, and, you know, shaking hands is not considered anything sexual or like romantic in undertones. And if you're going to live in our societies in the West, then you need to adapt to our customs.
This is the inherent flaw of globalism, right?
Again,
is that
you're running into a wall here.
You can never keep up with all of the eccentricities of each culture. And in an age now where everything's becoming increasingly more divisive based on the smallest differences in the cultures, that's a problem when you have to go perform in these other countries, right? And especially for an issue as hot button as this is. But look, host country, it's the same thing, I believe, if I remember correctly. Now, somebody could correct me, but when you host an Olympic ceremony, like when you host the Olympics, there are rules that can be differentiated based on countries. If I remember correctly, Adderall was banned at the Olympics in wherever it was it Japan? I
don't remember.
But because in that country, that medication was illegal, and a lot of athletes, I think Simone Biles was somebody who was like prescribed Adderall, couldn't take it because in that country, they don't allow it. Therefore, they weren't allowed to do it while in the host country for the performances.
Yeah.
Or for the competitions.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to respect the rules of the host country,
hospitality,
for something like this, and that type of relativism is the only way you're going to be able to run a globalist business like music, where you have to perform in other countries.
I find it particularly hypocritical of Matty Healy to do this when he has, you know, made a reputation for himself as being, you know, subversive, and you can't predict his next move, and he doesn't abide by the orthodoxies of the left, and he's this like post-left
he does push-ups to pictures of Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, he eats raw meat on stage and makes statements about masculinity and stuff like that, and says, you know, he doesn't know how to be a liberal man anymore because these expectations on you for being a liberal are so unreasonable. But at the same time, he's still doing the liberal virtue signaling that got him into this mess. And he made fun of this other artist, Youngblood, who is, you know, another person with a punk rock persona, who on stage went on this rant about gun control. He was in Europe when he did this, and they obviously don't have guns there. And he was like doing this whole rant that's like, we're the F the system, we're the fucking transgressive youths, you know, like, and he was making fun of Youngblood for doing this, but is literally doing the same thing at this concert in Malaysia. So let's look at the video.
Oh, you want to watch the video?
Yeah,
okay.
Start it from the beginning. I'd rather not watch him make out with his bassist.
Wait, start the video over from the
That's where he starts his rant at the beginning.
Okay.
Now, I made a mistake. When we were booking shows, I wasn't looking into it.
He's also violently drunk here. He has a bottle of wine in his hand.
Right? I do not see the point of inviting the 1975 to a country and then telling us who we can have sex with. And I'm sorry if that offends you and you're religious and it's part of your fucking government, but your government are a bunch of fucking retards. And I don't care anymore. If you push, I'm gonna push back. I'm not in the fucking mood. I'm not in the fucking mood. If you're filming this on TikTok, I'm not in the fucking mood anymore. I saw TikTok the other day.
This is like the signaliest virtue signal I've ever heard.
Picked up a child that I love, who's a friend of mine. Friend of mine's child. And I put them down. And there was a TikTok conversation as to whether my finger placement was appropriate. So what, we're just casually accusing people of being a paedophile now, are we, for entertainment? Is that what we're doing? No? It fucking looks like it. I'm not having a go at you, there's people filming this. It fucking looks like it. You don't casually insinuate that shit.
He is very drunk.
I'm not in the fucking mood anymore. Unfortunately, you don't get a set of loads of uplifting songs because I'm fucking furious.
Which also, it's your job as the act at this festival to give them a set of happy, uplifting songs.
Yeah, it's not your job to
That's
virtue
literally
signal.
what you're getting paid to do. If you're not in the mood, it doesn't really matter. People do their jobs when they're not in the mood to do their jobs all the time. They
Part of
just
the world.
don't have the privilege, so to speak, to go on rants in public about, you know, how they're not in the mood.
You know, he could have been caned for this.
Yeah. I think it says that in Malaysia you could get imprisonment or caning for homosexual acts, at least public ones, if it's done at a festival like this or in a movie or something like that.
I'm just picturing now.
But he gets to fly home. And he's not going to face consequences for this.
Like by next year, like you're like in a couple of years, every time you buy concert tickets, like you're basically rolling the dice. Am I going to get lectured? Am I going to get a virtue signal? Or am I going to get actual music? We may never know. Am I going to get tickets to Miranda Lambert and actually hear her sing? Or am I going to hear her talk about why it's annoying when people take selfies at the front of the stage?
He's acting like he got a personal invitation from the government of Malaysia to perform there. Yeah. He says, like, I don't understand the point of inviting the 1975 to your country and then telling us who we aren't allowed to have sex with. Yeah. That's not what happened. You had the privilege of being able to perform there and go home and not be subject to any of their laws.
You know what's funny is it reminds me of WWE when they go to Saudi Arabia and the women have to... The way women in the WWE dress in America is very, very different from the way they dress when they bring them to Saudi Arabia, meaning that every inch of them is covered. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, if I remember correctly, they gave them the choice ahead of them. Like, look, we're going to Saudi Arabia. You do not, we're going to take the wrestlers we're going to take and we want them to perform, but none of you will be forced to do so. But a lot of them went and it became about breaking boundaries. Like the first women to perform in front of a live crowd in Saudi Arabia, but they had to be covered basically almost head to toe.
Yeah. But they made that value judgment and decided to abide by the rules and customs in that country. And they weren't so prideful to go there and then break those rules. Yeah. It was your choice to perform in a country that has anti-gay legislation in the first place. You should have been paying attention. And if you didn't want to, financially support that country by performing there, support their economy, then that would have been your choice.
Do you think he would have this would have happened if you just did the rant, or was it the kissing his bassist that
was what crossed the line and got the festival canceled? Yeah. I don't know if his rant alone would have been reason enough to end the festival, but clearly it has consequences beyond what he thought.
Or the women at the World Cup. Thank you, Olivia Claire says it's the World Cup in Qatar. Yeah,
Qatar, who were flashing their tits on camera,
and then surprised when people were it's like this.
Like, you can't we have these Western values of tolerance and acceptance and equality, and if you are so accepting that you invite people from more so-called repressive cultures into your country, then you can't have your cake and eat it too, essentially. And you can't have tolerance and acceptance and Islam in the same place. I'm sorry.
It's like Florence Pugh expecting not to get pushback for posting stuff. Like if you're going, like the women in Qatar, if you do that, you run the risk of something bad happening to you. Something bad shouldn't happen to you. By our Western ideals, nothing bad should happen to you. But that doesn't take away from the reality of the world that we live in, which is that values in other countries are very, very different from that of the West or other more, less stringently, repressive cultures. It's shocking to me that people, it's like they believe that the morality that they believe that they possess is going to keep them warm at night. It will not. They believe that's going to be an armor against people that have values that you don't believe in taking, violent acts upon you, which is always a risk when you put on a display like that. It's not a good thing. It's not healthy. It's not safe. It's not right, but it is the reality of the world, and people need to stop living in this false reality that they believe is propped up by, poster board slogans and their own cheery view of the world, and understand that the world is actually most of the time a very, very unforgiving place. Yeah. And that we're very sheltered here in Western civilization.
The dichotomy between freedom and safety is not something that a lot of liberals accept or understand.
Yeah.
Like, we have the freedoms that we have in this country because a lot of people are working to preserve it. Like, we have a standing military.
Wait, so what you're saying is that freedom ain't free?
Yeah.
That is true.
And this mindset is just not going to age well. He's talking to his audience there in Malaysia saying, I'm sure a lot of you are, progressive and gay and young and cool. And, when you reach your 40s or 50s, I don't think that, feeling like you're a progressive, gay, cool youth is going to keep you warm at night. Like, that is lame at some point. You have to mature past that and have values that actually matter. But yeah.
All right. Let's now that we've depressed everyone today. I don't know. That's fairly. It's weird to me. It is more about, like, we're constantly seeing how Western ideals and globalist companies seem to constantly be butting heads.
Like Travis Scott recently had one of his tours banned in Egypt.
Yep. All right. Let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, Matty Healy is male Maya Angelou. I see it. Oh, and don't worry, Brett. I won't clip you this time. Or will I? Bum, bum, bum. Damn it, I'm so stupid.
You say that as if
clip
I've
him
got
saying that Kathleen Kennedy is a hero, please.
She's just, everyone loves her. She's great. She's perfect. She's never screwed up anything.
Braymont said The Rock is tater tot confirmed.
He's a tater tot.
He's one of the tater tots.
He's a tater tot, man.
You can't stop them. Ben Dillon said, has anyone volunteered to run Mary Morgan daily yet?
That's Corey Anderson who says that.
Oh,
Ben Dillon
Corey
said,
Anderson,
you are Knuff, Kings.
A Mary Morgan daily updates account wouldn't have many updates because I don't post everything that I do.
You gotta going to get coffee and then stop, get your coffee, drinking my coffee.
That's what I did when I had a private account.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's hold off on that. We'll hold off on the rest. We'll come back. I want a second crisis party today. That's what I want. All right, guys, did you know that if you are like Pinky Doll, an influencer who's looking to cross the picket lines and scab and make your mark on Hollywood now, you run the risk of joining what is SAG is actually calling a blacklist. What this article is calling a blacklist. So if you are an influencer, you're not an actor, you're not an actress, you're just somebody who makes content on TikTok or Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, you run the risk of being blacklisted by Hollywood and the Hollywood Actors Union because, look, you're supposed to express your solidarity with Fran Drescher and all of the other wimps in Hollywood. I'm sorry, I'm being mean. You have to express your solidarity with all of the actors and the people in the union because you need to swear a loyalty oath to the union. That's creepy.
It's ridiculous, especially because this applies to influencers who are not a part of SAG-AFTRA. They accepted influencers into SAG starting in 2021, but now these new rules that they've come up with for influencers apply to all. And supposedly, if they find out that you've broken any of these rules before joining SAG, you will be barred from ever having membership in the future.
Yeah, it says, to put it simply, influencers are expected to express solidarity with the ongoing strike or risk landing on SAG-AFTRA's blacklist, which could lead them to lose out on opportunities in the future. They also won't be allowed to join the union further down the line. How can they show their support? Well, influencers are often paid by studios to promote films and TV series and to whip up attention on social media. I see that a lot because, a lot of I follow Enola Better. She's a dancer and a singer, and she's always at movie premieres. I'm like, what the hell does she have to do with Mission Impossible?
No, one of the girls I was on a whatever panel with, who was just some dumb 18-year-old influencer. she was like, I looked at her Instagram and she was at like a Scream 6 premiere, like on a red carpet. And I was like, who is this? This is just some nobody. But like apparently a lot of them get these brand deals with studios to promote movies.
I saw the guy who I always post the videos of. His he's a musician named YX. He makes the funny videos where he like roasts his wife in the videos, where he has the one where basically talks about how she like his famous first videos, like he puts a speaker on the bed and then just sings her a "You're Late for Work" song really loudly, and she just freaks out and hits him with a pillow, and it went super viral. He's like at the Creed premiere. I'm like, what is this like? But I guess he's also like he's like an industry musician, but it's like a lot of influencers end up at these movie premieres, but that's because on their various social media platforms, they're going to post stories and they're going to post pictures. It's like Coachella. Fit check, Coachella.
Also, SAG doesn't have an official definition for an influencer or any amount of followers that you need to have to be considered one. Yeah. So supposedly this could even apply to either of us. Like if we're doing movie reviews for Barbie, then we're now barred from membership in SAG.
No. Well, they don't want us anyways because I
guess they wouldn't want us anyways.
Maybe me because I'm more. I go too easy on the movies. They're like if they want Mary, it's like it's got to be like it's getting a Mary seal of approval on a movie is like what being like a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes used to be. Where it's like if Mary actually likes your movie, you know it's really really good because Mary doesn't like any of the movies.
Yeah.
Hard
to please, but it's like don't rope ordinary people into this. You know,
and
the strike is supposed to apply to the entertainment industry, and now if anyone can be, if anyone can be considered an influencer, regardless of how many followers they have. I mean, nobody's get brand deals all the time. Like that girl that got the brand deal with Biore strips. Like she would be considered an influencer, and if she promotes a movie,
did you see this?
She'll get barred from membership.
Yeah. Did you see the story about Juju Green?
No.
So it says, I'll read this through. This story is really, really funny. It's like the quickest, like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Please don't cancel me ever. It says, confusion about the specifics of SAG-AFTRA's guidelines, especially in the overwhelmingly non-union influencer industry, has led to a number of controversies since the strike started. It says, much of the controversy revolves around a film-based content creator called Juju Green, who has more than 3 million followers on TikTok. After Green suggested he wasn't covered by SAG-AFTRA's guidelines as a non-union influencer and shared a now deleted tone-deaf, they put it in quotes, tone-deaf skit about continuing to post, many condemned his lack of solidarity. How dare you not fall in line, peasant? Fall in line with the union. Green has since apologized and clarified that he stands by the strike. Yeah, as they're like literally like slapping bats on their hands behind them. They're like, you support the strike, then don't ya?
Yeah.
He says, Green has since apologized and clarified that he stands by the strike while criticizing members of the union for punishing influencers instead of truly educating them through this new and challenging time. Kick rocks, union. You make me want to wish for you make me want the $1 gazillion studios to win.
This is also, they said in their FAQ for influencers on the SAG website that you are not even allowed to attend Comic-Con or other like festivals or events that are run by struck companies if you're an influencer. It said you cannot participate in conventions such as Comic-Con on behalf of or to promote companies that we're striking against, including appearances, panels, fan meet and greets involving struck work. You may participate in a convention in ways that are wholly independent of characters from struck work or sponsorship by struck companies.
I saw that.
And it also says influencers should refrain from posting on social media about any struck work, regardless of whether they are posting organically or whether they're getting paid to do so. So if you're an influencer, you're not in SAG, and you just post, I watched the Barbie movie and I liked it, you're not allowed in SAG.
Nope. Because it's a gang.
Like, this is more so compelled speech. Mm-hmm. If you're not in SAG, you still have to post the scripted support letter. You know, I stand in solidarity with the union.
And they're all saying that. They're all saying the same words. I stand in solidarity.
They have a script.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was mass emailed out to them.
Also, did you see that SAG-AFTRA strike closing is costing studios $600,000 per week? To which I say, so? Like, I don't mean to be mean,
That's
but
pennies.
like, that's like for these studios who wasted $30 million on a He-Man movie that never even came out on Netflix, is $600,000 all that much? Eventually it'll add up in lost revenue from the movies that have already been filmed and not coming out. But like, I don't get it, man. Like, if I was these actors, I would be wanting to get back to work as much as possible. I do understand that. Look, the journeyman actors, the ones who don't even qualify for health insurance, meaning you have to meet the minimum of like $26,000 a year. Like, they're not meeting that, right? But a lot of actors aren't. You're in an industry where it's very hard to get consistent work. It's just crazy to me. And you've got these people telling you that you have to fall in line. You can only follow the script. What if one of these journeyman actors has a TikTok that blows up and wants to do a brand deal with someone and go that way? I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
Go work for yourself.
Yeah, that's another confusing aspect of this is that influencers are self-employed and they don't have to. The whole point of being an influencer rather than being in establishment media is that you can run your own business that is yourself and your persona online. But another part of this that's confusing is like, do you really want influencers to stand in solidarity with you? Like, these are some of the most morally questionable people in our day and age. I don't think I would want to stand in solidarity on anything with influencers because they're not regulated, they're not controlled. They're independent people with their own opinions, and they're prone to scandals, they're prone to PR blunders all the time. Do you really want their support?
I mean, are the like I kind of think of influencer scandals in the same light as I think of reality TV scandals. They don't hold the same weight.
Sure.
Like, people, like, they're less risky than they are when there's a scandal amongst, with a regular celebrity. The Jonathan Majors is a much bigger story than some reality TV star who does something stupid.
Yeah.
Or something illegal. It seems like that stuff exits the news cycle faster.
Yeah.
I don't know. But also, like, look, if you're like, that's one thing, but it's also like, if you're the influencers, like, they need you more than you need them right now. Like, the influencers are going to be able to make this market work on their own because they have the freedom to do so. Like, when I see like an Enola Beddard at a movie premiere, I think of somebody with 2 million followers, that they need that person more than she needs them, because she's insulated by her large follower count, brand deals, and extensive amount of work that she's doing. The studios are grasping for relevance. Like, think about it. Like, this is like a 22-year-old influencer at a movie made by like a 60-year-old dude that's being marketed to boomers and older Gen X and maybe some of the millennials. They're scraping for relevance with the youth.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Barbie was being marketed on people who are doing their fashion, like, what are you going to wear to the Barbie movie?
Yeah.
I feel like the influencers are in a much better position right now, but it's like everyone inherently desperately seeks out that mainstream validation for some reason. Like, they need that attaboy from the mainstream companies.
I don't know. I think that SAG and like all of these actors who are in the established media want people to want to be in their club. Like, it's a big club and you're not in it.
Yeah.
And if you're not in it because you broke their rules, they love to gloat at, and boast over how you're not allowed in their club because at the end of the day, these are overgrown theater kids who never fit in high school. Yep. And they're living out their in-group fantasies in this industry. Yeah. But the reality is the influencers with 100K on Instagram probably have a more engaged following.
Way more.
Than any of these celebrities do.
More work, though. Like, in a lot of ways, when you don't have the corporate machine backing you up, it's a lot more work, and you have to, it's daily for them, and you're constantly putting out content. There's never a day off.
That's what people are saying to filmmakers right now. It's like, you could make films independently if that's what you care about doing. If you care about storytelling,
make your own YouTube.
As much as you claim to.
Make your own YouTube.
Do it
and
yourself.
Monetize it. Yeah.
Like, that's what these influencers are doing. They don't need the capital and name recognition of studios and IP to make money and make entertaining content. People are watching TikTok. Young people don't watch Netflix.
Nope. Yep, it's crazy. And when do you think this strike ends? Do you think it ends before the end of the year?
I have no idea. I mean, I hope that it never ends.
That it goes on forever, and we get to talk about this every day. I saw Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad made a comment today where he was talking about, he's like, "Oh, you're not going to use AI to replace us. You'll never take away our dignity."
Okay.
Yeah.
He's really annoying.
You don't like him?
Yeah, Bryan Cranston.
Love Breaking Bad. I don't really know much about him as a person outside of the show.
That's the ideal.
Yeah. Well, that's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
You should not. Ideally, you want to know as little about these actors as possible because it allows you to connect with them better when they go from character to character. Mm-hmm. Influencers are the opposite. They succeed by being more engaged and more personal with you and finding a way to, find the best possible way to feign connection and honesty with you.
I just don't know how an actor's strike is going to end with the negotiations that they want. Like, there's no way that the studios are going to give them what they want.
Not entirely, no.
So
like
they may
get a bump.
Concede.
They may get a bump in residuals, I guess, but I don't think they're going to get what they want from AI. No. So
let's go to Super Chats.
All right, let's do it.
Disco Jensen said, that scene in The Last Emperor where the kid breastfed on the wet nurse always baffled me. At what point in a film does nudity become gratuitous?
I'm also not a fan of breastfeeding in public either.
I mean, if you'd ask me, I don't think any nudity in film is necessary for storytelling. Corey Anderson said, bad attitudes and narcissism make one ugly.
Was that in relation to the Megan Fox thing?
That was Florence Pugh.
Or was it Florence? Yeah, the Florence
She is
Pugh.
a technically very attractive woman. It's just sometimes you can't forget how annoying she is when you see her in a movie. He also said... oh, no, we already read that one. Disco Jensen said, Elon is in bed with the CCP plans for gigaplants and all. They have a lot of money and influence for him.
Have you ever seen the Chinese Elon Musk clone?
I did.
That guy.
He's sort of like the bottom G to Elon.
He's the Elon. He's the Elon. What would the bottom G name be for an Elon Musk clone?
Elon Sus.
There you go. That's perfect.
Elon Susk. Corey Anderson said, I didn't get my yes for my $20 super chat.
I added it after the fact, but there you go, Ben. Yes. Do one more.
Waffle Sensei said, Kim Jong-un's little sister is an absolute baddie. Nuke us, queen.
Go watch the Ryan Long video from today that he released. But it's like true life. I only know how to talk on Twitter like a 14-year-old girl. It's really, really good. He did that with the Content House dude. So, all right, let's move on, shall we? So, let's talk about Doja Cat, Mary. Tell us about Doja Cat and her race to the bottom of the follower count.
Yeah, Doja Cat just can't seem to stop beefing with her own fan base. And she has a reputation for being an edgelord, which is not serving her well in 2023. So now she has told her fans that essentially they're losers who need to get a job. And I
that
kind
doesn't
of agree.
work. I don't think that's a good idea.
It's not a good idea for business, but she is right. You know, she responded to her fans calling themselves the Kittens, which is a name she previously endorsed, and said, my fans don't name themselves shit. If you call yourself a kitten or effing kittens with a Z, that means you need to get off your phone and get a job and help your parents with the house. And she also told her fans that she doesn't love them. One fan commented on her post and said, I want to hear you say I love you guys, as you usually say to your fans. And she said, I don't though, because I don't even know y'all. And then they replied, we don't know you, but we've supported you through thick and thin. Mind you, you'd be nothing without us. You'd be working at a grocery store making songs on effing GarageBand, Miss High School Dropout.
Wow, they go right for the throat.
Yeah,
holy crap.
Damn. And then she said, nobody forced you. I don't know why you're talking to me like you're my mother, bitch. You sound like a crazy person.
I do love that she doesn't care.
Not crazy, but her fans are also crazy, and stan culture is definitely crazy.
Doja is more based than the stans.
Yeah, like I don't like her as a person, but I understand where she's coming from here. It's just not the best move for if you want people to buy tickets to your tour, which is coming up. And now fans are mad at her because she's dating a so-called racist incel. This guy named Jeffrey Cyrus.
Wait, how can he be an incel if she's dating him?
That's, a good question, Brett.
I'm confused.
I came across this thread that is now deleted called Exposing Doja Cat's Ugly, Disgusting, Racist Incel 36-year-old Boyfriend, Jay Cyrus, who loves to get rimmed and is an abuser, manipulator, predator, and a cheater. A thread.
Wait. So
one of these things is not like the other.
Wait, so you can be a white supremacist of any color, and now you can somehow be an incel and enjoying getting rimmed. How does one get rimmed if you are in fact also an incel?
Seems like that's somewhat unrelated from the other claims.
You can't be rimmed and be an incel. Sorry, those are mutually exclusive.
Since that thread has been deleted, it's beyond me. I don't know what the allegations against this guy actually are. I saw people saying he was DMing me when I was a minor, blah, blah, blah. He's been accused of being predatory towards fans, being manipulative and controlling to women, which in this day and age could mean literally anything. But they were like reposting this apology that he did for privately messaging and flirting with fans, sexting fans. And I mean, it's a bad idea. He was a partnered Twitch streamer doing this. If you're DMing your fans in this way, using your clout to get nudes from your fans, it's a bad idea because they obviously idol worship you. And when you don't want to talk to them anymore, they're going to expose you. Yeah. It's a classic story, and it's happened a million times. But I don't think that necessarily makes him a predator unless he was actually... I mean, if he was DMing kids, like, obviously disavow, but nothing has been proven yet. And she responded to her fans asking her to denounce her boyfriend. She said, well, here's one that said, "Girl, everyone is unstanding you. Even if you paint yourself gold, it won't make things better." And she responded, "I want y'all to read this comment and take it as a message." This is in all caps, by the way. "I don't give a F what you think about my personal life. I never have and never will give an F about what you think about me or my personal life. Goodbye and good riddance to you miserable hoes."
It's kind of like the comic book industry where it's like a 10,000 times worse version of the comic book industry where they say, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. She's like, if you don't like it when I talk about my boyfriend getting rim jobs, don't listen to my music. When
one of her fans asked her if she should rename her account and she was called a kitten, Doja Cat replied, "Just delete the entire account and rethink everything. It's not too late." I mean, it's not bad life advice, but she's still, antagonizing her own fans, which isn't a good idea.
Not long-term, not a long-term strategy. Well, it's like one thing, like the reason people hated it when they would do it in comic books is because like you're given like, you're expected to be the caretaker of this famous IP.
Right.
Like, it's like, here, please write this Captain America comic book. This character who's been around since like the 30s or the 40s, and do it justice. And instead you say, take that, you white supremacist.
Instead you say Batman is a fascist.
Yeah, but that's ruining it for the you're ruining it for the creator of the comic or for the industry. You're ruining it for the company that owns the IP. You're ruining it for the other people on the book with you. Like, you're not just the it's not just you, the writer. There's also an artist drawing the comic. There's editors. There's a lot of people involved in that. She's just kind of, I guess she's ruining it for herself and whoever else makes money off of her if she makes money.
Yeah, I mean, if I were Doja Cat, or if I were in her position.
There's a $20 one there from Olivia Clare.
She said, "I never thought I would hear Brett or Mary talk about getting rimmed. Happy Tuesday, friends. Mary, I love the hair today. Brett, looking good as always. Let's get another crisis party and hit the like button."
Yes!
do that.
I would love another. I said in the chat, I said crisis. I was like, they're all saying they're Mary simps in the chat. I'm like, well, get a second crisis party for Mary if such simping is true.
It's not for Brett.
Yeah, well, yeah, not for me. Nobody's simping for me, but we will simp for Mary and get her a second crisis party. But yeah, like if you're doing this in comics, you're ruining it for a lot of other people. She theoretically, I guess, is too, because she's got producers, she's got the label, she's got other people that make money. But still, she's the moneymaker. When somebody ruins Captain America's the moneymaker, not your garbage ass writing.
Yeah.
Like,
well, if I were Doja Cat and I had a following of millions of people, I probably wouldn't like them either, you know?
what?
Right?
Why?
Well, I mean, it's just they expect you to have a personal relationship with them that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about this earlier, you become captive to your audience and you have to become the caricature of what appeals to them.
Yeah, audience capture.
And you end up resenting yourself and the fan base after that happens.
Guys, there's a really good video after this episode today. Your boy Zach from Comics Matter did a really good video about audience capture where he kind of goes through the concept of audience capture. He talks about Nikocado Avocado.
Yeah.
He talks about some other people, but it's really, really interesting about, you find one or two topics that your audience really, really likes and you kind of become a slave in many ways to them. You become beholden to them under that concept. And it's really, really interesting. So I do recommend going and checking that out. So there's a recipe for some distrust, or not distrust, but for a certain amount of anger towards your audience, right? A certain amount of what would the term for it be?
I mean, when they create these parasocial relationships with influencers or celebrities, that's obviously a maladaptive behavior, and it comes off as weird and intrusive when someone is asking you to, like, tell me you love me, and you don't even know that person. I would resent that too if I were her. But at the same time, she's not the most likable person on earth either. And she has a spotty past. People are talking about how she, rose to fame as this like meme lord, edgelord persona. I mean, she literally made a video dressed up as a cow and said, "Bitch, I'm a cow." Yeah. Like she got her stardom off of a meme and probably off of the lockdown, if we're being honest. She has that to credit for her fame as well. I mean, you have to appreciate the people that support you, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you have to have a fake personal relationship with them and manipulate their emotions to get their support. That's not fair to expect from them.
It's like an age-old question, right? Like, how much do you owe your audience who then supports you? You have the Tom Cruise route where he thanks you every 5 minutes, and I appreciate that. And I think a lot of it in the same way. Like, look, I see people in the chat that roast me, but at the end of the day, if they choose to come here and watch, even if it's hate watching, or they're here for just to see you, and they use that Angel Studios app to block me out because I'm indecent, like, they're still showing up, right? And I still consider it a bit of an honor to be able to do it for work, but at the same time, it would get old for somebody of her stature, somebody who's been doing it for an audience that large.
I mean, you have to know that if a celebrity or an influencer is telling their audience that they love them, it's fake. Yeah. But it's weird that they appreciate it regardless. It's sort of like how people talk about Donald Trump and his populist message. Like when he told all of these people, like, we're gonna get your coal jobs back, they knew that it wasn't true and that it's hopeless, but still appreciated that he saw their suffering and affirmed it rather than telling them, like Hillary did, go F yourself, your jobs are never gonna come back, adapt or die.
What did Mike Pence say recently? It's like, it's not my it's not my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like, they must know that when Doja Cat tells her fans, "I love you," that it's not a genuine statement.
Well, it's not to you as an individual. It's to you as a fan base as a whole. That's, I guess, different.
You can't love a group of people, right? It's the same way that you can't hate a group of people. they're individuals at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's but I mean that's the world we're going to live in now for a while, considering look, we spend less time in the real world than ever these days. You spend a lot of people, the majority of the population, I would guess, here in the West, spend a lot more time with digital friends and in parasocial relationships than they do with people in the real world. What's funny about that is like I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are so unhappy. Like, or at least more tense or more anxious than they've ever been. Like, I find that if I fall into one of those traps where I spend more time online than is necessary, like, it puts me in a worse mood. Even if it's not like a bad interaction, even if it's not a bad thing, I'm staring at a screen for too long. It's like you're like looking for connection in a way it's real, but it's only so real and very different from what it is to experience it in the real world. And it's a recipe for, a lack of emotional stability, or not stability, but a lack of real connection.
At least for stan culture, the stans, like the whole implication there, if you're standing someone, is that you endorse everything they do, both publicly and privately.
Yeah. And
support and celebrate them just for existing. And if you idolize somebody, you're going to end up despising them. You'll end up despising whatever you idolize when it doesn't give you what you thought it was meant to give you.
I've heard the same thing from a lot of other people they say, like, when somebody really likes you on social media, right? Like if you have a YouTube channel or something, it's like they really, really like you. They like to send you messages and say that they really, really like you. And then if you don't respond the way they want you to respond, they get very angry.
Don't meet your heroes, but the 2023 version is don't tweet your heroes.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
And now she's lost over 350,000 followers.
Wow, I thought it was 185,000.
According to Social Blade.
Wow.
Yeah, it says Doja Cat loses 350,000 fans after she defended her racist white boyfriend. And she's been on a blocking spree. She's also blocking a lot of her fans.
There's a $20 super chat there from Burgundy Blue.
Speaking of audience relations, what do you guys think of your audience and their comments? I've noticed a lot of weird, rude comments toward Brett and weird, simpy comments toward Mary, especially on your YouTube shorts.
Look, people say stuff. It's I just don't read most of them, but I do see a fair amount. They show up algorithmically. I have to look at some of them when I'm setting up the stuff for the day. I don't like it, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's part of the job.
And a lot of the people on the YouTube shorts don't even follow us, and it's probably the first time they've even seen us, so they're going to just give their first impression reaction.
Yeah.
But my course of action is that I just don't get into private correspondence with any people that I don't know. Yeah. Like, it's different for me because I'm female.
Because you're a girl. Because you're a girl.
I don't respond to people's DMs, and that can come off as rude if they want to see it that way, but it's the name of the game.
And then it becomes like, who do you choose? And then who do you choose to interact with?
It seems like Doja Cat regrets courting that like audience and like giving them this false sense of closeness with her, and is now lashing out when it was her mistake to court that type of relationship with them in the first place. And she also doesn't seem able to accept that being a public figure means your personal life and personal decisions and your personal relationships are going to be on the table for criticism.
Yeah, and at the end of the day here, like, somebody has rightfully pointed out, like when we've talked about this stuff before, because it has come up, like, they're like, look, at the end of the day, like, your job's not that hard. Like, is that true? Like, more goes into it than just turning on a camera and staring at the screen and talking to people. There's a certain amount of, like, you kind of put yourself out there by doing something like this. But at the end of the day, even if it is a lot of work, and I do believe, whether it's, producing, writing, editing, all the things that go into it, it's still an amazing job, and that's a blessing to have. So I don't have any complaints about that, but it's just, it has its own unique circumstances. But if we're going to call Hollywood people crybabies, then I guess people have the right to call us crybabies if there's things that bother us, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's fair game. So it is what it is.
I just wouldn't stoop to the level of, like, arguing with people online about it.
Oh yeah, when people say stuff to me, I just...
She's not doing herself any favors by engaging with it because you're making the hate louder.
I almost never respond if somebody says when I talked about the Dadvocate, that lady who I loved and would love to be able to get on the channel. Like she has the kill 'em with kindness policy, whereas like people will send her vile messages where somebody's like, you're a B word and you're not doing anything for men and you're awful. And she's like, I will continue to fight for your right as a man to get equal custody with for your children. I will fight for your right. Like she always responds with kindness, not with rudeness. Because like at the end of the day, a lot of the people who are saying something negative about you, they don't care about you either way. They just want a response. That's what they clamor for. They don't think twice about you.
I think even responding with kindness
is not necessarily the best.
Not a good course of action.
I used to tag like every time somebody would say something mean about my skating, I would pin that comment to the top of that post.
Yeah.
As just a way to be like, good for you.
I feel like even blocking people gives them a sort of response that they want, so I don't do that either usually.
Yeah. I don't know. She's like in Doja Cat's circumstances are a lot different than what ours would be. She lives in a very different world than we do. It's not like we're celebrities like she is.
Also, like now they're just drudging up shit that doesn't even make sense. One person tweeted, Doja Cat had a racist song called Didn't Do Nuffin' to honor the racist white incel population. And they're accusing her of, going on 4chan and being in racist chat forums, blah, blah, blah. But if you actually look at that song she made, it's not racist in any sense of the word. And you're just kind of weaponizing her race against her by calling her self-hating if she doesn't tout the lines that you want her to.
I also don't know did they explain what made her boyfriend racist?
No, actually. I think they just said that he was manipulative and controlling toward women because he was a Twitch streamer and he had like private chats with his fans. What is worse? Which is unwise, but not predatory.
What is worse? Having I guess they were sexual chats. Is that what they're saying? So what is worse, that or getting guys to give you tons of money, like an amaranth?
Yeah, she's doing the same thing.
Yeah, but
it's not called predatory. It's using men.
It's getting your bag, queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what they're saying is the guy's just bad at business. He's doing it for free. He's not doing it for money.
Usually when you prop up somebody into the social media influencer space, they're going to use that influence for bad things.
I would never want to be like a public figure. Like that. Like I can't imagine like that life of like somebody, especially if you're Doja Cat, who's like clearly combative and likes to argue with the people. It's got to be like catnip. Every time somebody says something mean to her, she just doesn't want to get it catnipped. I didn't even do that on purpose. I didn't actually catch that till after I said it. That's how dumb I am. But like, it's got to be hard, right? Like she feels inclined to respond and she's always going to take the bait and know that that's how the internet is.
She like, by reiterating so much that like she doesn't care what they say, I don't give an F what you think about my personal life, blah, blah, blah. It's just like when Florence Pugh posts an essay about how she's so confident and comfortable with her body. If you have to reiterate something over and over again, you're probably overcompensating and you're defensive because you do care about getting that backlash. Yeah. Like everyone cares what people think of them.
Whether you want to believe it or not.
To
some degree, yeah. Like if that
denying that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Doesn't do you any favors.
Like look, it's like a lot of that stuff is like it does like because like other than the show, I, for the most part, like I post my skating on Instagram. That's about it. I tweet sparingly and it tends to be positive stuff. And I really only started that Twitter. I only got back on Twitter because it was good, like to talk about it because it's good promotion for the show. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to be in any type of way, a public figure at all, at all, even a little bit. So I
also find it weird to imply that just dating someone means that you endorse every decision that they ever made before you dated them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a business partnership, I don't think you owe anyone an explanation for what someone else did in their past.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Super Chats then.
Corey Anderson said, why not just sue Healy for lost wages?
I mean, can they do
that?
Can they do that? They don't point out in the article. Like, I hope those other artists got paid. I don't know if they did, but a big part of it is is the ability to perform, right? Like, your job is to perform in those shows. You can post those shows on your band's social media platforms or your YouTube channels. Like, they're missing out on a chance to do their job and grow their businesses as artists because Matty Healy threw a tantrum.
Yep. Disco Jensen said, hold please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Disco Jensen said, IRL PCC meetup in Hollywood. We're all crossing the picket lines to work as scabs in commercials. Or not. I'm not the boss around here.
Honestly, that would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like seeing Matt Gaetz at a freaking premiere anyways. Like, us there would be like the weirdest thing ever anyways.
It's press.
Also, we need to get a new Ian Crisis Party sound with like all the testosterone he's got flowing through him now that he keeps talking about. Like, with his like, we need him to do like a heavy metal Crisis Party sound effect for us. Like, Ian, I'll tell you this: when Ian tweets, I'm just like, dude, never change.
Yeah.
Everyone should hope to be as sincere as Ian is.
I agree.
Awesome.
And it sounds like we're being sarcastic, but I swear we're not.
That's what I love about Ian is he's one of the most sincere people I've ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm. Waffle Sensei said, unions are gangs these days. My union demanded me to go on strike like a COVID mob, so I treat them like one, and I'm going to work no matter what now.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Disco Jensen sent $10 without a message.
Thank you, Disco Jensen.
Shane H. Wilder said, look, my favorite artist is Alice Cooper, but I don't harass him online. I just buy the music, some swag, and go to the concerts.
Well, like,
I support artists by streaming them, by going to their shows and buying merch all the time, knowing that I probably have nothing in common with them as a person.
It's the double-edged sword.
I don't agree with them on everything, and I don't support all of their private life decisions.
It's the double-edged sword.
That's the norm for us, like people on our side of the aisle. Like, we're used to that. But I guess for leftists, they find it very upsetting to find out that, you know, the artist they like isn't a good person.
When we have to
when you have no reason to even believe they're a good person
or care. Like, do you like the I guess that's not necessarily true, because I definitely let my dislike for Florence. I find my annoyance with Florence Pugh. Like, I couldn't figure out if my annoyance with her in the movie was because the character was annoying or because she was annoying, and that just made her really good at portraying an annoying character.
Yeah.
But it bled through a little bit there, I will say. Also, I will say, Miliwake is Algonquin for the good land.
Oh.
That's an Alice Cooper reference. It's
Parnell
also a Wayne's World reference.
Said, hey, Brett, hi, Mary, all hail the chat and fellow crisis actors. I appreciate you all for getting me through my workday. That is all.
Thank you. I hope that your workday goes fast. That's what, it's weird because for us, like, the longest part of the workday is usually the lead up to the show. And then the show tends to go by very, very fast. The last 60
seconds before we start.
And then, well, yeah, right. And then, like, and then I'm always like, when we're done, and like we're done, we clean up the money, and I'm like getting ready to do like the editing and the uploading. I always feel like, oh my gosh, this is going to take forever. And it takes time, but it always goes by very, very fast. So we're through the longest part of the day right now, at least the longest part that it feels.
James Orenthal Wen said, like Twitter bios, rimming someone does not equal endorsement.
Perfect.
And on that note,
and with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you please subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? And I do say hit the like button because we are still over 700 people watching with 350 likes. So please go ahead and hit the like button. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, and you can send me hate on Twitter or X or whatever that
there's a hostage.
Is. Also Mary Archived.
There's a super chat right there.
A hostage party chat.
Two of them.
John Stewart said hostage chat. High Voltage 75 said, I think this has been asked before, but what is the delay time between getting a crisis party and the party sound going off? Is it a set time?
Okay,
No,
so
it is not a set time.
No, it is. It is actually. I mean, okay. So what it is
Well, in a way.
it cycles through a period of it checks every 7 minutes. So depending on when that when that goal is met, it could be anywhere between 1 second away from when that last 7-minute check was, or 6 minutes and 59 seconds away from when that last check was. It's got to do with how it's laid out in Excel and how it connects to the YouTube channel. I didn't do any of the automation.
And beyond our understanding as mere influencers.
I'm not an influencer. You're an influencer. Guys, hit the like button in this video again. Subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Not all things equal endorsements, remember, just like they were saying earlier.
Not all X's equal endorsement.
Exactly. It's perfect. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Oh, there's one more there, right there. John Stewart. He says, look at me.
I'm in charge of the podcast now.
He says, look at me. I'm the podcast now. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you would like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Twitter, X at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisisPod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.